All right, DCC fam, welcome to a special edition podcast. I'm your host, Executive Pastor William Colley. I'm joined by your lead pastor, Benjamin Kempfer.
Hey, my friends.
And a great friend of ours, Amy Boland. How you doing, Amy?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is great. So we're excited to be doing this kind of special edition podcast. Amy is heading up the women's conference that's coming up next weekend through the 61 Exchange, the Boldly Conference. And so we're going to kind of spend a little bit of time talking about the conference and really just kind of sharing with you guys why we're so excited about it.
Yeah, so one, Amy, again, thanks for joining us. And for everybody listening, let me intro a little bit about Amy, because if I was to ask Amy to intro herself, she would just say she's a girl who fell in love with Jesus and started running after him and never looked back, which is true. It's very true. What the cool thing has been to see how Jesus has used Amy in some dynamic ways. And I shared with our church on Sunday that you are one of the most dynamic leaders that I know. And so thanks for being here with us, for partnering with us as a church, really kind of for choosing us and calling us, say, hey, I really want to do this. What do you guys think? We're honored to get that phone call and to have the gift of hosting you guys. So let me tell you a little bit about Amy in case you're not familiar. If Amy Boland has never crossed your path before, from Thomasville, Amy has done all kinds of ministry around these parts. She was the one who started Project Backyard, which for us then kind of morphed into Project Tallahassee, so she was the genesis of that. Amy then moved up to Atlanta, where she was connected in Passion City Church. She worked at Passion City, or around Passion City Church, and kind of at and for them, specifically alongside of the Passion tours and David Crowder tours. She worked directly under Shelly Giglio while she was in Atlanta and did a lot of stuff with Passion City. In fact, she became part of the launch team that launched Passion City's campus in Washington, D.C., where she now resides. So she's part of the core team for Passion City, D.C. She does about 100 things on the side. Amy, we're kindred spirits in that you can't just do one thing. She is let me give you her brief. This is just what happens in the normal life of Amy Boland right now. She is the executive director of the Crescendo Foundation. She is the founder and visionary of the 61 Exchange that she currently runs. And she is the D.C. lead for the A21 campaign, which, if you're not familiar with that, is the ministry of Christine Kane that works with human trafficking, and they do a lot of advocacy for 13 countries where human trafficking is really bad, and they work with people from the White House and on down to try to help create change and all kinds of stuff. So, what do you do in your spare time, Amy?
I walk. I do a lot of walking therapy and working out.
Just decompress. Well, Amy, so that's my bio about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, thank y'all so much for having me. You guys have just been like brothers to me, and we've walked through some great seasons and some hard seasons, and I just consider y'all brothers and just legends. You truly are legendary. So just really grateful for y'all. And anytime I have a crazy idea, I come to you guys. I'm like, hey, what do you think? And y'all usually let me run with it because I think y'all are about as crazy as I am. So
yeah, we're legends only in that we're the one that say, yeah, I think so. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll try.
It's like, I don't know. But I'm just grateful. It's just been beautiful to see how faithful y'all have been with DCC. I was grateful to be a part of DCC from the very beginning whenever we were at Grace Midtown and studying the book of Acts.
There you go. So tell me a little bit about I want to hop into this conference. So the theme is Boldly. Tell us a little bit about what that means and just, I guess, the conference and the theme as a whole.
Well, if you know anything about the 61 Exchange, we talk a lot about beauty for ashes. In Isaiah 61:3, it says that he will give us a crown of beauty and exchange the beauty for ashes. Or the ashes for beauty. And I saw that, and I hear women tell their stories, and we would do these conferences over the past 2 years all over, Georgia, D.C., Florida, and what I saw was the missing piece was that it was like, okay, now that I have the beauty, now that I'm getting the healing, what is my next step? And so I think just in praying about it, and the Lord just kept putting it on me, like, what is in the end of Isaiah 61:3, it says that they shall be called oaks of righteousness. And I said, what does that look like? What does righteousness look like in our lives as women? And I kept looking through scriptures of what righteousness meant and like where righteousness was in scripture. And the one that really stood out to me, and if you know me, I'm passionate and I love fierce, I love bold, I love all those things, those kind of words. And when I saw the scripture, it says that the righteous are as bold as a lion. And I was like, yes, that is us. That needs
need to get a lion print something now.
I know, right? I'm a cheetah print fan, but I was like, I wish lions had a print. But I love that. I love just, what does that mean to be righteous? And I think that women so many times are, I think growing up in the church that I grew up in, not as a bad thing, but I never saw a woman up teaching. I never really saw women in leadership roles or heading up things. And I believe that it is not an either or in the kingdom. Like God created man and he created woman. And like equally, we're supposed to be running the race and in the lane that God's called us to. And there's beauty in each side of it. And like, that's whenever we make up the whole picture of the body.
Right. I like that. That's really well said. Let me ask you this: with that kind of walking boldly, and we talked a little bit before about this, but tell me a little bit more about why. Because I know for me, every time I'm preparing for a sermon on Sunday, the thought that I continually come back to is why. Out of all of the subjects that I could talk about, there's going to be people that are coming to church for the 100th time. Some people are going to be coming to church for the first time, and I don't want to just present information. I want to have a burden for why I think out of all the things in the scriptures that I could talk about, this is the one thing I have to talk about. So for you, as you have experienced and know women and ladies, and have you talked about kind of the beauty for ashes, and then the second part, why do you think at this time this subject of boldly, of walking in that, is such a burden that God has placed on your heart?
I honestly think, like, when I first became a believer, I didn't see a lot of women like boldly walking in something. And for me, I wasn't passionate. Like if you gave me Pinterest and some crafts, I'd be like, I don't have a hospitality gene in me. I don't want to get on Pinterest. And I was like, but I love to organize things. I love to like run with things and launch things. And I was passionate about that. And so I think my why was I had a holy discontentment for how like women weren't actively using what God has given them. So if God's given us beauty for ashes, then I've seen it over and over and over again, that usually he takes our greatest pain and uses it for his greatest purpose. And that has just something resonated with me. Like, how do we do that? And I am so just passionate about women walking in their purpose, what God has called them to, because that's when they're going to experience the fullness of the life and the joy that God has called them to.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. This is a little bit off script. But in your experience, what is the biggest hurdle that you see that women face from walking boldly? That's something that I don't have a ton of experience with. Well, obviously, one, because I'm not a lady, but, for me, I was a guy. Oftentimes, guys are the ones that are in front. They're the ones that are, leadership and kind of the typical what you would see. So I understand that's for you. Do you think that's also true of most ladies, or why do you think it is that women have a tendency to not walk, even if they are walking in the lane that God has called them to, perhaps not walking boldly in that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think one of the things that really sticks out to me and makes me think about is I think leadership can sometimes be a lonely place. And if you're a leader, then the passion that you have burning inside of you needs to be greater than any fear that you have coming at you. And, as a believer, you've got to be in the scripture, you've got to be in the word, and you've got to believe it with all of your heart so that you can walk boldly. And I think that sometimes women, like fear and anxiety and the enemy attacking, sometimes we let the enemy's attacks overcome what God's placed in our lives. And that's just, we can't do that. Like, the truth is the truth. And at the end of the story, like, Jesus wins. And so why not just go all out and walk boldly in what he's called us to? We're not going to lose.
Yeah. He won. It's a good point.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think, knowing you and knowing your story and where you've came from, I'm excited for all the women in our church to be able to hear your story. But to be able to see how you've lived that out. This isn't just something that like, you're like, man, this is something I read about and, it sounds cool. I should, talk about it. It's like, no, you've lived this out. You've made this a purpose of your life, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I'd agree. And one of the things I think is cool about that is I was thinking that same thing. This isn't a camp theme for you. This is like, I feel like in some ways this is almost, how do I put words to what I've felt, experienced, and lived my life, and now I'm able to kind of articulate it in a way that is helpful to other people as well. So
yeah, definitely.
So do this for a little bit. Cast me a vision of what you hope. So somebody comes to this conference, or even maybe just listens to this podcast. Cast some vision for me for what you want people to take from this. What you're hoping to for them to walk away thinking, knowing, doing. What does that look like for you? And again, whether it's all they do is hear this podcast, or hopefully actually go to the conference and experience the flood of Bible and Jesus through Amy and your whole crew. So cast some vision for me. What's the win?
Yeah, first, number one thing is always like Jesus, that it doesn't matter. You'll hear my story if you get to come. If not, reach out to me. I'm happy to share it. But man, like, it doesn't matter how far deep you are in a pit. It doesn't matter what you did last night, what you did right before you came into church. It doesn't matter. Like, Jesus will reach down and meet you. It's like he's a come as you are kind of Jesus. So you don't have to get yourself together to get to him. And he's coming after you. And he's the only one that pursues us. Is just as much as we need to be pursuing him. And honestly, like, I just want women to be, at the end of the day, on Saturday afternoon, when we walk out those doors in Tallahassee, I want women to be on fire and to be like, man, I'm going to be walking in my purpose and in my passion and my calling, because God has a lane for me to run in. And we're going to be having, like, after every speaker, we're going to have questions for you to dig into, to say, hey, how can we help you, come alongside you as a community and help you and hold you accountable for running in this race. I want women just to be inspired by the women that are coming. Like, man, I can't wait to tell y'all to meet them. They are incredible. I always believe that I should never be the smartest person in the room, and I definitely am not with these people. They're just amazing. And the things that they're doing, like literally sitting in the Oval Office or sitting in the Pentagon or running things or just helping families in the city of Atlanta. But these are just incredible women. And they're, it's like the boy that came with his 5 loaves and his fish. And he was like, hey, man, this is what I got.
Right.
And that's how I am. Like, if you know me, like, I'm just kind of like, here I am, this is what I got. And I'm running off of Jesus on the rest of it, and he's going to take that and he's going to multiply that. So whatever gifts and talents that people have, knowing that they can step into that with the Lord, and he's going to meet them there and he's going to multiply it. And he wants us to walk in that passion, that purpose.
Yeah, that's awesome. One of the things I shared on Sunday too is, as we're talking about this conference that I'm really excited about for everybody to experience, is oftentimes you go to a conference with the caliber of people that are going to be with you on this upcoming weekends, and you experience them, but it's in a conference of thousands of people. You have created this conference specifically to be intimate. We've capped it. It's only people are going to be sitting around tables, not in rows, because you want it to be conversational and intentional. And I think it's going to be a really extraordinary thing to match the intimacy and the conversation and the community with the dynamic people that God is moving through. And just as, not to say, hey, these people are any different, but here's an example of how someone has lived boldly in their calling, running in their lane, following after Jesus. So that's awesome. Well, so that's a great segue. Why don't you tell us, give us however you want to do it, whether it's, a couple of them or all of them, give us a little snapshot of some of the Amy and friends that are coming to help make this such a wonderful time.
Yeah, well, I'm just so excited because it's going to be colliding my worlds of Atlanta, Tallahassee, and D.C., so I'm super pumped, and I have a girl from Thomasville coming. But first, for our worship leader, it's going to be G. Lee Passion. She's led worship at Passion City Church and also at Passion Conference. She attended Hillsong College and interned with them over in Sydney, Australia. She's been in ministry for 20 years, so she's incredible. A woman named Kathy Samaria, whose daughter was killed in a car accident while she was in college, and she wrote this song that they found, and it's just impacting people literally all across the world right now. Another girl that was from the Dominican Republic, and her insecurities in her life that she felt because she was different, that Lord is now using her to help refugees in refugees camps across the country. We've got another girl that Lord has just placed her in the Oval Office in situations where she's in the Oval Office and in the White House. She also attended Bethel out in Redding, California. We've got another woman that is a stay-at-home mom, but she started an organization called Simply Serve, and she just serves people where they are. We've got another girl that she's at the Pentagon, and she does a lot of interesting work. She's a congressional advocate for IJM, International Justice Mission. She is going to be talking about getting involved in your community and not shying away from what's in front of you. And we've got my friend Chizzy. I can't say her full name because she's Nigerian. I'll let her do that. But she is a structural engineer. She's Nigerian, and she was raised in London. So everything that she says sounds spiritual and anointed.
That's awesome. So basically, you just brought a bunch of scrubs to see what we could, learn from.
Yeah, man, I wanted them to see. We could take them out to Doak Campbell Stadium and show them what it's about.
Of course. Maybe they'll bring us some luck. You never know. No, what I love about the lineup you're bringing here is like such a diverse group of women. You really are getting to speak to, hey, your calling is to be a stay-at-home mom, and your calling is to be in politics or to be an entrepreneur. Like, man, we have women that are speaking in all of these different areas. So that's just incredible. Super exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, all right, give me the details. I imagine I'm listening to this and I'm a lady and I'm thinking, man, that sounds incredible. It's limited to only 200 spots total. Again, because you want it to be conversational, table. There's discussions, there's all that. How do you sign up? Where's the information? What's the next steps for someone who says that sounds incredible? What do I do?
Yeah, so I just checked registration today, and we're almost halfway there. So you need to grab your tickets ASAP. Grab them. You can do it at downtowncommunitychurch.com. I think you can also sign up on the DCC app, right?
Correct. Yep.
And also, I have a little special code for all of our people that are listening right now.
Heyo. Why don't you go ahead and share that code with us?
It's DCC61E. DCC61E, and if you type that code in, you're going to get $10 off. So you're going to want to do that. It is February 22nd and 23rd, and it's $25, and it includes breakfast, lunch, and some dessert and coffee on Friday night. So yeah, that's it.
That's awesome. Now, so clarify, DCC61E?
Yep.
Okay, good, because I could see people typing 61.
Anyway, the number is 61. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. And I know our team here at DCC has also been just working hard alongside Amy and her team at the 61 Exchange to just make this an incredible event and not just something that we're throwing together. I know actually today they confirmed having Ricardo's for lunch.
Oh, my man John at Ricardo's.
Which is
ladies, let me tell you, that is the place. Lindsay and I go, that's our number one restaurant literally in town.
Plenty of secret bread they'll be delivering. So, no, we're excited. It's going to be a fantastic event. So, ladies, if you're listening to this, please make sure you sign up, grab your tickets today, because we are capping this at 200. We want to make sure that, like as Amy says, we can keep it intimate. And it's going to be an event you guys do not want to miss. We're going to be talking about this for a long time.
Yeah. Amy, I want to say again, thank you so much for doing this. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm hoping that we do a good enough job of hosting you guys that you say, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. We want to come back and do this all the time. I'm not going to hold you to that, but I'm so excited about all of our folks who are going to come and experience all the wonderful things that you've done, you as a person, and just see how God has worked in and through you. And I know you are similar to me in this as a leader. Your goal is to never say, hey, I am so much better, I'm so much different. The goal is for someone to look at you and say, well, if she can do it, then I can do it, and that's one of the things I love about you. So thank you for spending your time with us today, and especially we're so excited to hang out with you next week and next weekend.
Yes, I'm excited. Thank you guys so much. Can't wait to be home.
All right, great. So remember, downtowncommunitychurch.com or the DC Tally app, and the code is DCC61E. So you guys have a great day, and we will see you on Sunday.